listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Being Human After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Being Human After Show.
Someday somebody's gonna make you wanna turn around and say goodbye. Until then, baby, are you gonna let him hold you down?
Wow.
And cry?
I consider myself a little bit of a nerd, but I don't know if I'm nerdy enough to get that song.
No?
What song is that? That sounds, I've heard it before.
This is the song they sing in Bridesmaids.
Oh, a movie that I did not like very much.
Oh, really? Why?
I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm a guy. That might be why.
I liked it, but I was surprised that I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it more than I thought I would. But anyway,
We're not talking about
let's talk about something else Bing is for doing, and here we are doing another amazing after show for your favorite show, Being Human. And this is Season 3, Episode 12, Always a Bridesmaid, but Never Alive.
No, it's so sad.
I'm your host, Sean O, and I'm here with my lovely co-host.
I am the infamous Katarina Lee.
And we're going to talk about a variety of topics for this awesome episode that I was really on the edge of my seat for like 3/4 of the episode. I enjoyed it so much.
It was exciting.
So we're going to talk about Aidan, Josh, and Sally entering the door.
Yes.
And that was, we predicted that a little bit.
Yes, we did. We predicted that Sally would have to go through it.
But it was still fun to see it happen.
It was, and I didn't necessarily predict that Aidan and Josh were going to go through with her, but obviously that was, necessary.
It had to be. Of course, they're all friends. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But of course, Sally on her deathbed, and she had such a great monologue there in that scene. We'll discuss that as well. Yes. And lastly, the big thing, of course, at the end of the episode, Nora and Josh get married.
Yay!
Yay! Man, it was so fun. It was such a great and lovely wedding, right?
It was really cute.
Yeah, I enjoyed it so much. But anyway, let's talk about Aidan, Josh, and Sally entering through the door. So pretty much they all went through. I was thinking maybe one of them would be able to go through. Like I think we discussed last time that it was probably Aidan who would be the only one to go through,
right?
Because he can see it, and obviously Sally can see it too because she's a ghost.
Yeah.
But even though Josh was not able to see it because he's not fully turned into a wolf yet, he was still able to go through with them. They pulled him in.
He was.
So what did you think of that? That whole scene, like I don't know, just like them entering through this like twisted portal.
It was cool. I really liked the interaction between Nora and Josh when he was talking about not going to be on Nora's side, and he said, I promised you I would always put you first, and her basically saying, no, but I love you because that's what you want to do. You want to go help your friends. And then she basically gave him her blessing to go with her friends, even though that she might lose him.
Yeah, that's right. And it was so nice that she's been so loving and great the last few episodes, forgiving Aidan and letting Josh be who he really is, not controlling him and not getting peeved about, oh, I wonder where your feelings stand, I'm going to be your wife, and what do you're not supporting me. She's supporting him.
Yes, she is.
And that's good. I'm glad that she's doing that. So, when each of them steps through the portal, except for Sally, probably because she's a ghost and it's like normal for her to go through, Josh and Aidan both have these hallucinations. Yeah. So what did you think about the hallucinations, Kat?
Well, Josh's was, he saw the wolf again, and this time the wolf turned on him and chased him for a little bit. So that was interesting. That was sort of the like the mirror effect from his meditations, where he sees the wolf and he's trying to, he's slowly getting closer to him.
Yeah, the wolf, it's like him and the wolf are getting more comfortable with each other, but here it's like the complete opposite.
Yeah, so the question is, has his work in his meditations been undone, or is it just because he went through that door that it was just a hostile vision that came specifically with that? And if he goes back to his meditations, that he'll be able to continue to make friends.
Yeah, that's right. And I feel like it was the same way with it was a mirrored effect with Aidan as well. You know, he
Yes.
goes through the door and he is back in his like human attire, right? When he was a human before in 1700s. And he doesn't quite see anybody yet, but there's like we get the feeling, the implication that his son is running around there.
Yes.
His son Isaac, right? That was the first time I think that they revealed his son's name.
Yeah, so
I
it wasn't Edmund Waite.
No, it
wasn't
wasn't.
son?
It wasn't. That
so
was.
you were right. It was probably really was his father.
That's right. It must be his father, Edmund, the guy in the printing press.
Yes.
So his son's running around, and he ends up catching up to him, like hiding there in the grass. And his son has the same like horrific-looking face that the other hybrid vampires have been getting when they're turned.
Yeah.
And then when they come out of it. Josh ends up asking, "Hey, did you see something
Yeah.
when you were going through the door?" And Josh says that, and then Aidan's like, No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Why do you think he lied?
Well, probably because he knows that his vision was sort of a prophecy of what was going to happen to Kenny, and he doesn't want to reveal yet to his friends that that's what's going to happen to Kenny. He probably doesn't. Well, first of all, he's not 100% sure that it's going to happen. He's just, there was at the beginning, there was like him sitting tortured in the room and being, obviously worrying about it, and then he chains Kenny to the bed because he thinks that something bad might happen, but he's probably not ready to confess
Yeah,
that particular part of the information to his friends.
Right, yeah, he doesn't know what's going to happen yet. So that's probably why. I'm sure that's a big reason of why he's like keeping it to himself, and he's scared. He's fearful.
Yeah.
He doesn't. If it was me, if I was in Aidan's position, I wouldn't want that to be happening to my would-be vampire son.
Exactly.
I don't want him.
The question of guilt comes in then too, because he's the one who did that to him now.
Yeah, exactly.
So he feels good, even though he didn't know that it was going to happen. He's going to feel tremendous guilt about that.
So they end up getting up and they're there in the kitchen, but it's in like an alternate dimension kind of thing. And even Josh can see, even as a human, he can see Sally.
Yes.
Which means like pretty much like the rules and stuff don't apply in that dimension.
Not at all. Not at all.
Which makes it very fascinating. And it's I wanted to say it's kind of like purgatory or limbo, but of course it's not limbo because we already saw what limbo looked like.
Yeah, because it was the soup kitchen, right? But it was all messed up and everything was broken and thrown around.
I wonder if the witch Donna controls that dimension, if she made it herself, or if it is something that already kind of exists,
right?
And she just uses it at her disposal.
Yeah, and why it looks different now, would she have, with her powers, made it to look that way, or?
Yeah, or maybe she just doesn't upkeep it at all. There's leaves.
It's only her.
It's only her and Ray now. Ray is like her zombie husband.
True.
Her zombie husband puppet, who ends up being there, right?
Yes.
He steps up from where he was sitting, like near one of the tables, and this is the darkest I've ever seen Ray look.
Yeah.
I feel like it was a combination. It must have been a combination of the filter, like they used like a blue-green filter,
Right.
the makeup that they put on him, and just the way he was staring, like looking at Josh like he was a piece of meat. And
Yes.
and this was the first time that I felt we saw Ray in a very menacing, treacherous-looking fashion.
Right.
Usually he's been kind of goofy.
Yeah. Besides the fact when he snapped the other psychic's neck.
That too, but it was worse here because he's in this alternate dimension and we don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like he's not in the real world where everything's like it goes from dark to happy-go-lucky in a second. Here in this dimension, it was a complete and like somber attitude, or like the way everything felt.
And then there's the added ambiguity as well, because he's not just. I mean, he's obviously now playing evil and Donna's henchman and a puppet and all that stuff, but at the same time, he does have a legitimate gripe with Josh because he did kill him, and he didn't have to. It wasn't like Ray sought him out and he had to kill him in self-defense. Although in the end, it did sort of turn into self-defense, but at the same time, Josh sought him out to kill him. So he has a legitimate gripe there. So it's not, so there's this weird, ambiguous sort of, where does Josh stand now?
Yeah.
He's sort of between good and evil too.
He is. You're absolutely right, Kat. And it actually feels like he offers like the olive branch at first, where when Ray and Josh start confronting each other, he's like, "Hey man, like I don't want to have to kill you again in a way," and he says to him like, "Hey, I tried to do my penance. I gave money to your wife and your son. And right when he says that, Ray kind of like looks down a little bit, and you see him almost like more human again.
Right.
You know, he's not this zombie werewolf anymore.
I mean, he has his memories and all that, so there's got to be some part of it, of himself, that's still the old Ray, that's just being controlled by her.
Yeah, you're right. And they end up fighting, and Josh gets on top of him again, almost like the same way that happened in the forest when he bashes Ray's head in with the rock, only this time it's a steel pot.
Yeah, but again, that was interesting, the way that they mirrored those two scenes, and I mean, that was obviously on purpose.
It was,
I
and
thought that worked really well.
oh yeah, I feel like it did. And but then in this case, Ray ends up getting out from under him and changes into a freaking wolf, like almost at command, right? Because there's no moon out. It looks like there's during the daytime, and it's in an alternate dimension. So how could the moon be, you know, like affecting him in this way?
And it seemed to have happened much quicker too, as you said, almost on command, but it was also much quicker than the usual sort of 5-minute drawn out agony they go through with, you know, it was pretty much
it was very quick. And to make a long story short, he ends up lunging at Josh because Josh angers him again, talking about his son, and this time it was not in a very nice way. And he quickly cut his head off, just beheaded him right away. And obviously that's the end of Ray. And we'll bow our heads for Ray, the zombie, the only zombie werewolf that we have come across in the show.
R.I.P. Ray.
Yeah, but you know, obviously there's another fight going on while this is happening, and we have Aidan and Sally fighting with Donna. And when right away it's clear that she wants to eat Sally. And Sally ends up trying to use this incantation on her. This Latin stuff.
But it sort of works.
At first you think it works, and she ends up laughing it off, but then Sally keeps saying it over and over again. And I guess she wasn't getting the words right before.
I love that little line that she has when she goes, "Oh, somebody memorized something."
Yeah, that was hilarious. And right then, that's where I thought, like, oh crap, it doesn't even work at all. But she just must have not been getting it right. And she ended up saying it right at some point after she tried maybe half a dozen or a dozen times. And we see Donna collapse to the floor. And we're fooled again, thinking that she's maybe dead or paralyzed in some way. But all it did was reveal her true face and how she really looked as a 300-year-old witch.
Yeah, because she's much older than we even dared to imagine.
Yeah, and I thought it was a little funny exchange that Donna had with Aidan, because they're both so old. And she's like, yeah, I may got a couple of years on you, Aidan. With the Salem, and they're talking a little banter about the Salem witch trials, and I was actually from Andover. Salem got all the press. That was pretty funny too.
It was funny. I want to talk about because they used the heart. And before they went in through the door, Aidan put his hand in Sally's body and took her heart.
That's right.
And he was saying we should take something of your body, etc. But wasn't that Ray's heart to begin with?
It was Ray's heart originally, and his blood, that made her whole body. But I think, you know, perhaps now, even though she was born of Ray, I think her body was her own.
Yes, but since he took the heart out specifically, and that was specifically, I mean, that's why they dug up Ray, to take the heart to make Sally.
Well, I don't think it was I don't think they actually used his heart to put it inside her. I think what they did in that first episode was it seemed like she maybe cut up the heart, or like made it into a paste and rubbed it all over her corpse.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Right.
So I think from that, she was born again. And
Okay, so it was her heart then.
I think it was her heart.
It was her heart. In case anybody was also unsure about that, it was Sally's heart after all.
Yes. So they used
I just wasn't paying attention.
So they used that as a weapon, right?
Yes.
And it was funny because they were like, oh, wait, I can't. Sally was like, wait, I'm a ghost now. I can't grab anything anymore. And he was like, okay. So, you know, backtracking a little bit before they go in the door, he said that because those are blood magic practitioners, the witches, we need some kind of like blood or nails or something from the person to be able to fight back.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool. That shows Aidan's vampire prowess in his experience of living for 300 years.
Yes.
And dealing with undead and werewolves and other vampires and
witches.
Obviously witches too. And now he was able to help kill one.
Yes.
So he throws the blood heart in the fire. It ends up spreading and going towards Donna. She gets engulfed in it. I thought she was gonna die. What did you think at that moment?
I wasn't sure because, you know, the bad guy always dies at least twice. You know, so there's always like one when you thought they were dead, they're not entirely dead.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I thought maybe the fire wasn't going to be quite enough.
Well, she ends up channeling it anyway, and I was fooled, and I was like, "Oh no, Sally!" And now Sally's on fire, and she gets smashed, and this was so different than how Trent died. Remember when Trent died? His ashes ended up going to the ground, and then she scooped them up and fed on them, right? So this time, the ashes, maybe it's because she was on fire, they're in the air, and she's like inhaling them like air. And it made her younger.
Yes.
Right? Yes. So, but then, you know, fast forward a little bit, there's an explosion of light, and she's cracking like under the surface. From almost the heart area. And we see Sally kind of emerging, like her face is emerging a little bit underneath there. They wake up, and they're in Sally's bedroom again. Now, what do you think happened?
Well, at first, you think that, you know, that's when I thought that Donna was dead. But then later on, when you see with the candles and the fire and everything, you know, when the candles, when Emily blows out the candles and they come back on.
Yeah, at the end of the episode.
Yeah, at the end of the episode, and they burn really bright, and Sally's standing there watching, terrified. You know, that's when you realize it's not quite over yet.
Yeah, I think you're right. See, when I watched the episode twice, and I feel like the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, all right, Donna, the witch is dead. Ding dong, the witch is dead. La 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 la. And I think now that she's probably not dead.
No.
Because they didn't show her explode. They didn't show her ashes collapse or anything.
No.
All they did was show an explosion of light from within her. And then we have our happy three friends, the best friends ever, back in the Being Human house.
Yes.
So I don't know. I think Donna might still be alive.
I think so too.
Yeah, but anyway, we had a lot of awesome tweets from our fans and reviews on our iTunes account. By the way, you guys, go to iTunes, type in the search bar, Being Human, and we're like one of the top few podcasts that come up there. So go ahead and click on us, give us 5 stars, because
please,
we deserve it, guys. And give us a rating and comment and tell a friend, because it only takes a minute, right?
Yes, it does.
We actually had quite a few comments this week from Beatga, and she titled this Heather Ath 142.
Right.
She gave us 5 stars.
Oh, nice.
And she said, "Love your recap each week. You guys catch things I miss. Great prediction about the others going through the shell door."
Oh.
Woo! And that's our specialty here at AfterBuzz
The predictions?
TV. We do the prediction. That's what I like. That's the most unique part about
We're
our show.
technically psychic ourselves.
We try. We're not quite Lana, the psychic that got her neck snapped, but we're closer than you think. Also, we had Harley Sigma give us 5 stars, and if this is a girl, Harley Sigma, she said, "Werewolf vampire hybrid. Okay, so Kenny becomes this new creature because he drank Aidan's blood. How did the professor turn if Aidan just drank from him?" Okay, so now this is a really good question. Good, thank you so much, Harley Sigma, for your question. So, this is what I was pondering. Okay, so let me hear. I have something that I was pondering. Do you want to go first, or do you want to like formulate something?
No, I didn't really think about the exact mechanics of it. I didn't realize that Kenny had drunk Aidan's blood, but I suppose that would make sense.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either, but I think that is what happens each time.
Right.
Like, usually when we see someone being turned, it's from the neck.
Yeah, because otherwise they just die.
Yeah, otherwise they can take from their hand. They can take blood from their hand. And the vampires, I guess maybe it's just like slows them down a little bit, because we got the like the aorta up here,
Right, yeah.
and the vena cava, and is it the vena cava? The what's that one called? They always jugular.
Right.
It's a jugular up there. Yeah, so they got the aorta and the jugular up there. So those are major arteries and veins in the body.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why they bite in the neck to turn people. But I thought they also fed them blood too from them.
I thought it just had to do with that they would take more out of the neck. No, you're right.
And I feel like if they don't drain them all the way, and they do bite them on the neck, then and they end up waking up, then they're turned. And it's kind of like in the case of the professor, I think it was an accident.
Yeah, I mean, Aidan obviously has no recollection, so who knows what happened between those two?
Yeah, exactly. Now I was gonna say Henry. In Kenny's case, they both have an E-N-Y at the end. So in Kenny's case, we don't really see exactly how he turns him. We just see Aidan going for the neck, but we see him put the stuff away in the fridge. That's all his preparation, but we don't see the actual exchange. Like, okay, drink some of my blood. But then again, in season 2, they discussed when Sora was around, Aidan's ex. Right. She was like, she was talking about one of the cops, and she said, "Oh, she took to my blood like a kitten takes to milk." So I do think that the vampires have to drink their blood as well. But then again, how did the professor get Aidan's blood?
Well, because also in Rebecca's case, in season 1, Aidan kills her.
Yes.
Or thinks he's killed her.
He thinks he's killed her.
He calls Bishop and them to clean up, basically. And then they turn her without Aidan's knowledge or, want.
Yeah. But actually, I don't think Aidan was the one that turned her, right? It was someone else who did.
Yeah, he killed her by mistake.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't control himself.
That's
Men. Right. And then
we're hideous about that, aren't we?
Yes. And then they went back and so they obviously did something else to her to make her into a vampire. So yes, you're right. There must be another step involved.
Well, they're in the story, of course, like any TV show or movie, there are so many ellipses that we can't, we're not watching the character every second of every day that they're living.
And sometimes you have to have a little bit of creative freedom.
Yes, exactly. So, of course the writers are doing this, so they're able to have more creativity and like have things spring up and like surprise us. So we'll see where that takes us. Yes. Thanks again for your tweet, or rather review, Harley Sigma. And we had last one here from NZ Mommy, and she said, "Better every week, 5 stars."
Yay!
Woo! And she said the hosts are getting better every week, and not just recapping, but giving good analyses of the show. Loved the recent episode with Sam Witwer. Would love to hear from the other cast members as well, or 2, she put. But yeah, awesome. I actually just tweeted at Deanna Russo, who plays Kat on the show. Right. So that'll be awesome if she can come in next week for the finale. That would. And Sam Witwer did say he was gonna be here for the finale, so I don't know if he's gonna be here or not.
Everybody tweet him, please.
Tweet at him.
Like everybody.
Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about our second topic, which is Sally on her deathbed. So we're actually, we talked so much about topic 1. Let's like try to keep maybe topic 2 a little bit shorter. Okay. But Sally's on her deathbed, and it was such a powerful scene. Like, what were your feelings on it, Kat?
Well, it was interesting because she was starving to death, but she didn't seem to have that rage that she wanted to, that she couldn't control herself like the other ones did. Nick, for example, when he couldn't control himself and he tried to eat Zoe because he was so hungry. I guess her theory of abstinence worked.
It did, but it cost her life pretty much. And when Nora came in the room, she ended up like saying to her, "Okay, well, this was earlier in the episode, I don't want to eat your face anymore. That's a good thing, but the bad thing is I'm rotting from the inside out." Yes. So it was just so bad, and it was sad. She ends up in the bed. And
but it was very cute. So it was very cute when they did the thing where she was trying on her new clothes and stuff.
Yeah, that was
a really sweet little thing.
Yeah, that was really nice. So Nora was so thoughtful. She went shopping beforehand, and she gave her a bunch of clothes. So when she dies, that
she looks nice.
She would have something nice to wear for the rest of eternity.
And they were right. They did choose the right dress.
They did, and it's a cute looking dress. I like the boots she's wearing. It's so much better than her yoga outfit that she had before. Yeah. But the yoga outfit was kind of cute too.
It was cute, but that was more her jammies.
Yeah, and it was a little demure with the color and everything. But so it was such a powerful monologue she had, and it was a great blend of like humor and somberness
Yes.
at the same time, because she's dying and everybody's around her crowded, and then she was like, Josh, please grab my meat hook of a hand, of a rotting hand.
Yeah.
And it was a really cute scene, I thought.
That was adorable. And then the thing is with her, obviously death, she's already been dead, so she knows what it's going to be like as a ghost. So it's like on the one hand, on the other hand.
But this was the first time that she knew she was going to die.
That's true.
She knew what she's going to be next. And she was talking to Aidan about it, and she was like, what's it feel like to die? And it was so interesting, like the conversation they had. It was such a great dialogue between them two. And he described it as, it's something that you're so dependent upon, like the fundamentals of your heart, and it's like ticking, and you know that you're alive, and it's like time for you. You can't just make it stand still. But when your heart stops beating, it's like, you're scared at first, but you end up letting go, and it's like falling into a beautiful sleep. And it was really nice. And she ended up saying like, oh, I am getting sleepy, and Josh says to close her eyes, and this was the first time that we end up seeing her or anybody on the show die like this, and the transformation from dying to being a ghost. And we see the scars and lesions on her face disappearing. She looks at her hands, and we see the lesions disappearing from her hands, and she ends up appearing in the room.
Yeah.
And that was the first time we got to see it first person, which made it really a very fascinating shot, the way they did that. So I like that a lot. Anyway, so yeah, she transports to the other side of the room.
Yeah.
And so anyway, it's going to be the place where she resets now. She's going to reset in the room, as opposed to before she would reset like at the staircase, I guess. Whenever.
Oh,
remember?
right.
Yeah, that rule. Wherever the ghosts die or the person dies, that's where the ghost resets.
Right.
Pretty much. So anything?
that would be interesting.
At the end of the episode, you kind of mentioned it, Kat. Where we see the candles lit, Emily blows them out,
Yes.
and then they start getting on fire again. Do you think that Sally was doing that?
No.
Who do you think was doing it?
Donna.
Ooh,
Because Sally looked terrified.
she did look terrified.
And she didn't say anything about it.
Now, that's kind of like the same feeling that
Aidan.
Aidan had, where he doesn't want to tell what's, like there's something going on I don't want to share with everybody.
Yeah.
But I feel like in the past seasons when Sally was a ghost, she had all this power over the house pretty much, right? She messed with the pipes, she had them get clogged or flood the place. She had furniture move around and like pile up like a poltergeist.
Yeah.
But maybe because she's a ghost again, and maybe because she's intermingled with Donna's blood magic, and she was on fire.
Yes,
when
she was.
when she ended up getting consumed. So maybe she has some kind of witch blood magic, fire magic in
True.
there.
So maybe it was her, but she didn't do it on purpose or something.
Yeah. So
She can't control her new power.
Yeah, maybe she doesn't know it's her. Maybe it's Donna. You know, maybe you're right about that. I feel like this is a big side effect of her coming back from the kitchen dimension.
Right. Yes, definitely.
Lastly, our final topic: Nora and Josh marry.
Oh.
It was a very fun wedding.
was.
In the beginning of the episode, pretty much they end up waking up with each other in their bed, and they just Nora was being so fun and loving with Josh, and he was reciprocating, and it was such a contrast with Aidan being in the basement and just like mulling over what he's done to Kenny and what potentially is going to happen to him.
Yeah, and having to put him in chains and.
Yeah, it was such a joyful scene, and yet such a contrast in the basement. It was such a fearful and like sorrowful scene. But Aidan ends up going upstairs, and he sets up this little gazebo thing.
Yeah, that was adorable.
It was adorable. It was cute, and he ended up setting it up. It looked like something that belonged outside. But I think I saw some like shots of this like on the internet before the episode posted, and I thought it was outside.
Oh, really?
It looked so different, just the way they did everything, that I thought it was in a different location.
The pictures that I saw looked like it was inside the house.
Oh, it did? Well, to me, I think I just got fooled by all the vines that were creeping up the gazebo type thing.
Yeah.
But it was really cool,
Yeah.
and
Emily came back.
That's right. Emily came back. Kat showed up as well.
Yeah, oh, that was cute too.
That was cute. She had a little awkward scene with Aidan.
Yes, because Aidan just disappeared and never even called her to say sorry.
He doesn't know he got blood drunk and drained her ex-boyfriend and
Yes.
ended up leaving her bedside.
Yes.
Yikes.
That's going to be a little bit difficult to explain.
Well, he ended up explaining it pretty well, I feel, because he just lied his ass off like he usually does. Because she can't know yet that he's a
It's a
vampire.
little too soon.
It's a little too soon.
yes.
But her best friend is a werewolf too. So maybe it's not too soon.
No.
Who knows?
No, I thought also my favorite thing I think about the wedding was when Josh goes, we wrote our own vows, and Nora goes, did we? I didn't know.
Oh, no.
I didn't know we were supposed to. And then she just basically says, I love you so much or something, and then he goes, that's perfect.
Yeah, it was perfect. It was a perfect wedding. It was so cool how Aidan was the ordainer or the minister of the wedding, and it totally made sense because he's a vampire. He's got all this experience behind him. He said he made some joke earlier about being an ordainer on the web, and he's ordained millions of people. So that was pretty funny too.
Yeah.
And he started it off, but the wedding was really more of a Josh thing because he said he wrote his own vows.
Yes.
And when he said everything, it was just such a beautiful set of vows.
Yeah.
A good monologue. He ended up saying something to the effect of, I believe that life was a bunch of choices, and no, it's not. It's a beautiful accident, and that accident led me to you, Nora.
Yeah.
So it was just so nice.
They do fit each other perfectly.
They do.
Yes, I think actually she fits him better than Julia did.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. Well, they're definitely both werewolves, so they
Well,
share
yeah,
that in
that
common.
too. That makes it easier.
unless Josh had turned Julia also, but
Yes, but he would hate himself forever if he did that.
yeah, he probably would.
yes.
Yeah, he probably would have killed himself. Maybe
So-
not.
I didn't want to bring up a sad topic there. That poor dead Julia.
Well, we're coming up to a sad topic, so
Yes.
they end up doing their honeymoon, which normally would be happy, but then they end up having Liam interrupt it when Nora goes outside.
Yes.
And didn't we predict that he would have something messed up with his eye?
Yes.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
He had like
Yeah,
a fleshy covering on his eye from the wound that I'm sure Josh inflicted upon him with the steel knife or steel, what silver knife. Yeah. So.
Yeah, so
and
that's not gonna end well.
it's not going to end well, but that's a big time cliffhanger for the finale next
yes.
week.
Yes.
And you know what's interesting is that I looked at the website last week, I think, and they didn't say the date for the finale. But I haven't checked it this week. Maybe they have it up now.
Right.
Or maybe they're going to draw it out for a couple more weeks.
Oh, perhaps.
We'll see about that.
Yes.
But, Being Human.
Yay.
Such a great show, and this was a really good show. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to our news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So we got a lot of tweets from the Being Human cast that I was looking at, and some really funny ones here. Megan Rath, a couple days ago, she tweeted at a fan who she retweeted a fan's thing, and she replied to it. This fan, I don't know which fan it was in this list, but one of her fans said, "Wow, Norma looks so beautiful."
Normal.
Norma, as opposed to Nora.
Oh.
So they typed her name wrong, which was really funny. And Megan Rath responded to that and retweeted it, and she said, "Norma," all caps with an exclamation mark. That was
Funny.
funny stuff.
Well, I think we should mention Sam Huntington's birthday.
It's his birthday today?
Not today,
Oh,
no, but
when
a
is
few
it?
days ago.
Oh, it
and
was.
Sam Witwer tweeted him and said, "Today, 15 years ago, Sammy Huntington was born." And I thought that was so cute.
Oh, that's
Because
cute,
Josh
man.
just looked so young.
He does. What is he, like 30 something now?
I don't know.
But he looks great.
Oh, yeah.
The facial hair definitely adds to him looking a little bit more experienced. But he still almost looks like that Jungle the Jungle kid.
Yes.
Anyway, we had this fan of Megan Rath tweet at her. His @ sign is @1_ of the greats. Shout out to @Megan Rath for having the saddest death in history, but coming back as a badass ghost. Which sexy thing. Haha, love you, Sally.
Nice.
So she retweeted that, and that was pretty funny. She also tweeted an MTV Geek article, it looks like. And this was involving Sam Huntington. It was an interview that he had. And since we had him on the show and we talked about Star Wars, I thought some of our fans
Sam Witwer.
Yeah, Sam Witwer. He might want to. We might want to talk about this a little bit. So apparently, according to this article, the Cartoon Network may not be picking up Star Wars: The Clone Wars for the next season, which is very fascinating because that show has such a big following.
Right.
I've only seen a couple episodes, namely the ones with Darth Maul in it, who's Sam Witwer's voice.
Yeah.
But it's such a surprise, I feel. And it's nice to see that Megan Rath is like supporting Sam Witwer and saying like, oh, hey, you guys support and everything.
So what do you know, like what channel it's on and all that stuff?
Yeah, Cartoon.
Can we tell the fans to watch it?
Cartoon Network, but it's not going to be on there.
Cartoon Network.
It's not going to be on there anymore. So Disney, it's kind of
Oh, it's already done deal. It's gone.
I think so. It's kind of up in the air.
Right.
And Disney, like the show is transferring over to Disney because Disney owns like the rights to like all the Star Wars stuff and like LucasArts and they're like
they bought it.
They associate with them and such. Anyway, one of the other cast members, Deanna Russo, who plays Kat, she tweeted and she said, "We all took turns feeling up at Megan Rath's dummy. #being human. #perky." So this was a pretty interesting. If you guys
She
want to,
basically has a wax figure.
yeah, basically, and it's got all the. It looks a lot paler than she actually did.
Maybe it's
Obviously,
the Flash.
Obviously, yeah, and they probably put some makeup on. Oh yeah, it's probably the Flash. It's probably more likely the Flash, but that was just a little funny tweet there. Oh, and then she also tweeted something. Check this photo out. So this is a photo of Nora, aka Kristen Hager.
Yes.
She's got something in her lap there. Do you see that?
Yeah, something red.
Something red. So she put, and this is actually the shirt she was wearing on the show.
Yes.
So this was
Messy Eater.
yeah, actually.
It's like me.
Deanna Russo tweeted this and she said, check out at Kristen_Hager and her sassy new vegetable merkin. If you fans don't know what a merkin is out
Look
there,
it up. Google it.
look, Google it. I'll tell you guys anyway. So a merkin is fake pubic hair, pretty much, that women put on for the screen. It's just, but it's so nice that I was able to see this, and I just learned a few weeks ago what a merkin was.
Yeah.
And they use them all the time on the other show I do, Spartacus.
And a Crazy Horse.
And on Crazy Horse, apparently.
Yes.
Anyway, that about does it for news and gossip. Let's go ahead and move into our predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So, I've got a lot of predictions here. What do you got, Kat?
Well, I got a leg up on you because you watch it on iTunes, right?
Yes.
And I watch it on the television, so I get to see the trailer for the next week.
You do?
And yes, Donna reappears. Spoiler alert.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's too late.
She reappears.
Yes.
See, well, I guess I had a pretty good hypothesis then.
Yes.
So I feel like Sally, she's gonna express her jealousy for her Kat's and Aidan's relationship.
Oh.
Maybe that's why she was having the flames ignite and stuff.
Right.
Maybe. Well,
But what about poor Max?
yes, that's a good point, and I actually also predict that.
And nobody brought Max to watch her die.
No.
When Aidan was sick, they brought him Cat.
That's right.
They didn't bring Sally Max. Why not?
Well,
Why are you allowed?
she already said her goodbyes, I think, last episode, right? Didn't she do that? So, but I feel that Max will make an appearance asking where she is and what happened
Right.
to her.
Yes.
Or maybe not. Maybe he won't do that.
Maybe he'll feel guilty that he didn't let her eat those corpses.
Maybe. But it all worked out for the best anyway.
Yes.
Nora will fight with Liam and kill him. And I feel like it's only fitting that that's going to happen because she
Yes.
also killed his daughter, Bryn.
Yes, she did.
And he wants revenge for Bryn's death.
Yeah.
So it's only fitting that Nora is going to
Yeah.
take a non-traditional wife role
Right.
and go out and kill the guy who's stalking them.
I think you're right. And then on the Donna topic, they're gonna get rid of her.
Okay. So
That's my prediction.
all
Maybe
right.
not, as you say, if it's not the finale next week, then perhaps the week after. But I think there's gonna be some kind of resolution there.
okay, good. And if she doesn't die, I could see her coming back for another season.
And back and haunting their life forever.
She's a dirty witch.
She's a good character.
She's been living
She's
for
a very good character.
She is. I do like her. And let's see. I feel that Kenny's going to be bloodthirsty, and Aidan won't be able to stop or control him. And I feel like he's going to, because Aidan won't be able to bring himself to kill him, I feel like Kenny's going to be able to get away, run away, and he's going to start a new bunch of hybrid vampires, and they're going to be one of the main antagonists for next season.
That's a very good prediction.
Yeah, I pride myself on that one.
Good.
But anyway, that about does it for our AfterBuzz TV podcast this week for Being Human. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody, and be sure to check us out, at AfterBuzz TV on Twitter and on Facebook as well. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter at Sean Austin O, and on Instagram at Sean O.
And you can follow me at Katarina's Infamy.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, guys, and we'll buzz with you next week.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.